A new Gallup poll shows that about 78% of liberals in the US actually think that Russia stole the election. Now, it's very important to understand what is meant by that. Did Russia directly change the vote, or did their actions simply have an effect? Russia did not change the vote. The vote is what it is. There has been no hacking of voting systems. There's been no manipulations on that kind of way for the on the part of Russia. Republicans frequently manipulate the voting system, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Russia. Now, a lot of this is designed specifically to avoid criticism that would lead to necessary reforms in the party in order for it to be able to function. People don't want Hillary Clinton. They do not want the same warmongering, pink imperialist garbage. People are tired of it. They want to vote for something new. Then they looked at Cortez and, oh look, she just changed her position on Israel. I mean, this should really teach you about the system itself rather than the person. So, I mean, clearly, if you do want to support the Democratic Party, you would have to acknowledge that there are necessary reforms and that Hillary Clinton lost the election fair and square. Now, the rigging, you know, the one where they deliberately kept Bernie Sanders from being recognized as the head of the party. You know, he won the vote. He was cheated out of it. That was revealed by WikiLeaks. That was supposedly a hack, which we know for a fact that it was actually a leak, not a hack. Someone inside the party got that out. That rigging is estimated to have caused the party at least 10% of the vote. And then they proceeded to lose to the Republican Party and Donald Trump. Now, I'm no fan of Donald Trump. I hate his guts. But we're talking about the truth here. We're talking about whether or not Russia rigged the election, and it is simply not true. I mean, this has largely led to this whole idea that somehow Russia hacked the election has led to a huge hostile view on foreign relations by Democrats. And normally they talk, oh, look how peace and love we are until we get elected, and then we declare the wars just as much as the Republicans do while claiming to be really progressive at it. But as we've noticed, that coming out of this whole scandal has been the increase in violent foreign policy on the part of the Democratic Party. And I think that's perfectly legitimate. And all of these accusations against Trump, and I mean the illegitimate ones, that he didn't win, that the vote was rigged. I mean, he's perfectly guilty of a lot of things, but rigging the election is not one of them, has all been to cover up the excuse for why Hillary Clinton lost. She pushed ID poll. She supported a lot of people who ran around saying kill Whitey. She pushed a lot of the identity politics that says kill TERFs or punch TERFs, kill people who disagree with us. Just complete nonsense that just completely demonized the white working class. And then the white working class goes and votes for Trump. This is her fault. She deliberately alienated these people thinking that it was going to be a strategy that was going to work. And, well, it didn't. It failed. And even though some of the statements that they've made, which were false, they've admitted were false, they admitted weren't true, are still repeated to this day. The attempted hacking of the voter database was a false alarm. The Democratic Party has admitted that did not happen. They thought it happened, but that they turned out to be wrong. Yet to this day, that is still being pushed as something that happened. Now, and then they even went even farther and got the Steele dossier to attack Trump while completely negating the fact that they themselves had paid for it. And they denied for months that they were involved in the creation of that dossier. And they were. They lied. That lie is also being ignored by the media. All of it just to demonize the election because there are various sections of the capitalist class which do disagree with Trump. This is not really a conspiracy. This is just politics as usual. I mean, a lot of this here is not stuff that the Republican Party itself hasn't done at one time or another. And if there really was a hack, if the Democratic Party really had been hacked, then why did they refuse to hand over the servers to the FBI so that they could be investigated? They did not, because they did not want the FBI to see it, because they did not want it to be seen that there was no hack, that in fact that it was a leak. Someone inside, who obviously supported Bernie Sanders, leaked to the public how the Democratic Party had actually rigged it and even stole the whole Democratic primary for Hillary Clinton. It's nuts. If they had nothing to hide and they were purely straight up victims in this case, why are they hiding their servers? It makes no sense. Now, Robert Mueller has given out indictments for violations of campaign laws and other laws for allegedly hacking the DNC, for which neither has claimed to have altered the election results. So they say, oh, there's this thing that they did to interfere with the election, like violating campaign laws, etc. But none of them actually, which they acknowledge, didn't actually affect the outcome. Are the people inside the Republican Party as crooked as the day is long? Absolutely. But that's not what we're asking here. We're asking whether or not the vote was hacked by Russia. Was the actual election stolen? And so far, the answer is no. There's not a single shred of evidence that shows that Russia interfered with the election at all. There is not a shred of evidence thus far that many of the illegal acts that have been carried out by people close to Trump, parts of the Republican Party, actually affected the outcome of the vote. And even these so-called Russian bots and fake news stories that were put out attacking the Democratic Party, most of them, as was revealed by the investigation itself and broadcast publicly, half of them that were seen after the vote had already taken place. And that their percentage as the number of political ads that were on Facebook and other social media platforms was 0.04% of all the ads. In other words, it was completely negligible. All of this is a false narrative being pushed by one section of the capitalist class that wants to remove Donald Trump and replace him with someone who is more in line with their interests. Now, that is not to say that there are no capitalist interests behind Donald Trump. Of course there are. Many of them are just seeking tax cuts and the removal of regulations, which so far they have been pretty successful at getting. But what's important here is not a decision between Trump and Hillary Clinton. It's whether or not the hostility against Russia should be justified, or that it is justified. It's not. This is a lie being perpetuated by the Democratic Party, by Hillary Clinton. She lost fair and square and cannot accept that. She lost because her own campaign was bad. She alienated people away from her. She insulted much of the working class by the rhetoric that she used, and then she ended up in a complete and utter failure. And that is the main point that should be remembered from all of this. Hillary Clinton's incompetencies should not be blamed on Russia, nor should they be used to justify an aggressive foreign policy against Russia. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.